Welcome back to the Eric Krown Crypto channel. Wishing you a happy to the start to this Deja Vu Monday. It's Deja Vu Monday. We're back exactly where we have been for the past 4 or 5 weeks now, and very little's changed actually in the short-term time frames. But I did want to go over a few things in the more short-term here, and then thread it into the Bitcoin dominance and Ethereum Bitcoin pairing, as I think those are a little bit more interesting charts right now and maybe more relevant to a lot of people out there as well. So I think without further ado, we should just jump around and into it, make this video a little bit more on the short and sweet side. Hopefully that's the goal here, but we can start off right in over here with Bitcoin on the 12-hour CME. Yet again, another rejection right at that 55 exponential moving average, and more importantly, showing some potential for hidden bearish divergence come off that last high as well. If that does indeed get confirmed, very likely another move back down to the bottom side of the range, of which we can go ahead and look at the HPDR indicator over here for, which is the same as before, of course. Low $26,000 territory. Let's call it 26,200 or so on a 6-hour time frame here. I mean, you could basically use any one of these and they're going to be relevant for this, but I think the 6 hours is just a little bit more consistent in this case. Of course, to the upside, still the same thing, 28,000, anywhere above there, basically anywhere above last week's high, and that'd be good enough for me to be looking for a major continuation play, likely to 30,000 bucks in this case. Don't even need to see a closure if it does trade above last week's high. If you are looking at closures, then the big area to be aware of would, of course, be 27,400. Until then, short-term downside a little bit more likely, as we'll look in over here regarding stochastic momentum. Starting off with the daily, we never see that the daily will turn back down with any sort of a closure here or lower below 26,900 or so, which would not be the best sign, of course, but not necessarily a death sentence, as at the end of the day, just in the same way that we have been looking at this for, almost a full month now, need to see a closure below the range lows. Momentum also is turning down, obviously turns the probabilities within that favor, but is not good enough in and of itself. 12-hour time frame, of course, also going to be showing downside momentum as long as Bitcoin's below 27,400. There's that number coming up. 6-hour time frame going to be showing fresh downside below 26,900 if it does close below there in the next period, which is closing in 3 hours, 48 minutes, and 57 seconds. By the way, this is all relevant to CME prices here. 4-hour time frame also going to be showing downside momentum if Bitcoin does close below 27,000 in the next 3 hours, 48 minutes, and 45 seconds, so actually aligned with that 6-hour time frame as far as the closures go. And hourly going to be showing downside momentum as long as Bitcoin's below 27 and basically just 27,000 bucks, which right now it's a little bit more than 100 bucks below as of the current moment. So short term, do bears get yet another chance at the range lows? Probably yes. The question is, do they break or not? If they break, get ready for significant downside extensions. At that point, still going to be talking about, probably sub 25,000 bucks if that were to happen. But until then, it could very easily be something yet again like this, as we have seen over the past month now, where it comes down to the range low, blah, 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 blah. And Bullets are probably hoping for something like that, where it kind of levels out, gets boring for another week or so, and then tries that next move to the upside. Again, either a closure above 27,400 on a higher term time frame, or just trading above last week's wick high would do it for me, for suggesting some pretty significant upside from that region, at least 30,000 bucks, and probably just explodes from there. Anyways, yes, so we've got that. Now I think would be good to get into some Bitcoin dominance. Whoops, wrong chart over here. This is the chart I'm looking for. And what do we see? Well, first things first, let's start off right on the weekly. Again, it hit one of these major areas that we've had marked in here for, I think, like a year. Yeah, going back to June of last year, basically. And again, while long term I am very, very bullish on this and do think that it will very likely continue, in the short term, yet another rejection around this region probably does imply that we're going to see a pullback first. So what does that mean if you're holding altcoins, looking at their altcoin, Bitcoin, Satoshi pairing? Well, you're probably going to get another rally, generally speaking, there, which in my opinion is probably going to be another opportunity to get the fuck out. That's just my personal opinion. But looking at it right here, there are good reasons to believe that yes, it probably does come down a little bit lower first. Again, rejection within this region. Also, regular bearish divergence come off that 5-day RSI right there, and then of course where essentially would it be, and even the 2-day time frame as well, I believe. Yeah, the 2-day time frame, regular bearish divergence of 3 drives Friday, plus almost a fresh 2-day downside signal on the 2-day jewel, which is obviously not going to be interpreted as very, very hot for the Bullets there as well. Anyways, in this case, pullbacks down to let's call it like 46.75%. are certainly not out of the question. Doesn't really do anything for the long term, obviously, but coming back down there and then very likely looking for a bounce on this. So in the interim, yeah, I would be looking for altcoins to benefit versus their Bitcoin pairing. Still long term, however, looking at the very, very high term timeframes, I do think that we see this one significantly higher, within the next year and a half, probably closer to 60% over the next, I would say in the next couple of years. Anyways, this is, again, a very, very long-term analysis on this, obviously not super relevant for the short term. In the short term, most likely comes down. That also plays hand in hand with what we'll see over here. If I can find it, why did I get rid of that chart? All right, well, whatever. What we can look at as well is Ethereum Bitcoin pair, because I think that also accurately represents, the general altcoin sphere here, and a little bit more of an obvious chart as well. I would be saying that in the short term, probably likely to give another test to the top side of this overall structure, closer to maybe like 7.8 million Satoshis or 775, I think it is. But ultimately, yeah, short term very likely does continue on with this, with this rally. We can see that, well, is there anything else of significant interest right here? Actually, not so much. I'm just seeing these 5-day and weekly Joule signals start to, playing out. That started, when was this? Yeah, mid to early of last May, which is when we were saying, hey, long term, again, still think that this one does eventually come down, but in the short term, likely gives another try to the upside. I think that's what we're seeing right here. I think this one very likely does continue. Again, looking at the monthly, maybe even looking at the quarterly would be relevant here as well, seeing as it will be ending at the end of this month. And yeah, I would be saying this one probably does give another test to the top side of this overall range. And then the real question is, does it break or not? Personally speaking, I don't think it will, but can always be wrong on that. And of course, we'll come back to it in about a month on this one. I think is when it will have some new and exciting things to be speaking about. Until then, likely continuation with the upside, only really bearish below this last sort of higher low right here, which is around that 6.25 million Satoshi region. Until then, yeah, I'd be looking for this one to trade a little bit sideways and up, probably in a more boring fashion as well, as typically everything is kind of operating right now. But that should do it for today. I think I will end it right there. It's only a 7-minute video. We can look at Ethereum really quickly. With Ethereum looking like nice balancing point right around 1780. Kind of the same thing as Bitcoin, right? It does have a potential for a weekly silver cross to go on, but will inevitably be happening if Ethereum can close above or remain closing above 1780, but it's going to take another few weeks for that to actually occur. So boringness and sideways, generally speaking, here is going to be good for the Bulas. If Bear is going to take over, then we'd probably be expecting this one to resolve sooner rather than later, I suspect. So yeah, that's a good place for me to be leaving off on this particular video. Yeah, I'm happy with that one. I'll be signing off now. Want to be wishing you the best as always. Take care, much love, and forgot to request that you could like and subscribe to the video, or not even subscribe, but hit the bell, even better. Anyways, we'll do that on the next video. How about that? All right, sweet. As always, take care, much love, and see you hopefully soon.